They were never
They were not
attached.
attached in the
Opo.
impeachment
Wala pa
complaint.
pong ebidensyang nakalakip doon po sa complaint. At ngayon pa lang po natin binubuksan dahil ito po ay kumbaga request ng complainant. They were never attached to the original complaints. Parang this complaint is just merely requesting the committee to produce evidence. Ibig sabihin, wala pang ebidensya, nakikiusap sa committee na ito para mag-produce ng ebidensya na hindi nakakabit sa original complaints.
It was pointed out that the Salden was only part of a broader allegations of unexplained wealth. But as correctly pointed out by Mr. Marcoleta, or Congressman Marcoleta, those Salden that we want to specifically pinpoint that have material misdeclaration or untruthful declaration was never attached in the first place
We are
in the
not
complaint.
yet on that, Honorable Garbin.
We
We are
were
only
through,
on the
we were
existence of the
through,
SALNs.
we were already through on that. We already approved, voted on the ultimate facts and the sufficiency in substance. And the annexes provided in the complaint, Madam Chair. So what we have here is an improvement of the complaint, of the complainant's evidence. Tayo yung nagpo-produce ng ebidensya which is not supposed to be the case. Going back to the complaint, as stated, this specific SALN were not attached. And we say observance of procedural due process. Ang tinatawag po doon, paano makakapagsagot yung isang respondent kung wala naman specific allegation?
The investigation of the House of Representatives Committee on Justice is a fishing expedition.
I would like to clarify, to ask Congressman Marcoleta, sinabi niya kanina hindi kasama yung SALN sa original complaint.
Yes, he mentioned that.
Oh, I'd like to clarify. Paano niya nasabi yun? Kasama eh. Ito, babasahin ko. Vice President Sara Duterte committed culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayed the public trust in amassing unexplained wealth and failing to disclose all her properties and interests in properties in her SALN. Nagalagay po sa complaint eh. Anong sinasabi niya? Na hindi kasama sa original complaint. Eh, salita siya ng salita dito. Kinakailangan maging sure tayo na hindi nabanggit.
With all due respect, Honorable Marcoleta, it is our humble position that all the actions of this committee, including the issuance of subpoena of all these questioned SALNs by Your Honor, is in accordance with the rules of impeachment, the Constitution, and even with the decisions of the Honorable Supreme Court. Current investigation being conducted by the Office of the Ombudsman. That's for the record. Any other member who wish to? Honorable Marcoleta, please understand that you are
Madam
not a
Chair.
member of the Justice Committee. You're allowed to manifest, but you cannot raise clarificatory questions to the
Yes, ma'am,
resource
but
persons.
I'm about to
You may proceed.
raise a manifestation, ma'am, about the SALN, ma'am. First of all, let me state on record that the SALNs discussed were not attached in the original complaints. Hindi po sila kasama sa original complaints. And using the SALNs as a starting point without necessary predicate evidence supports the position that the investigation of the House of Representatives Committee on Justice is a fishing expedition. And if I may add, Madam Chair, on the SALN issue, the complaint asks this committee to obtain bank records, SALNs, coordinate with the AMLC, and forensic accounting. If so, it is an acknowledgement that the complaint is still seeking the very facts it needs to conclusively prove its SALN theory. Ma'am, malaki po kasi yung pinagkaiba ng isang complaint that already alleges ultimate facts supported by evidence, and a complaint that substantially requests this committee to authorize this committee to investigate and perhaps we will later find the proof. And if I also raise this observation, Madam, regarding the Ombudsman, the independence of the Ombudsman may be put to question before this body. The House of Representatives Committee on Justice summons the Ombudsman before the members of Congress and the public to present the statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth of the Vice President. While the Ombudsman has an ongoing investigation before its office, the Ombudsman is mandated to have the primary duty to conduct investigations over the misconduct of public officers.
Madam Chair, point of order.
There's a point of order, Honorable Marcoleta.
Just would like to
Honorable
clarify.
Bishop Abante.
I would like to clarify, to ask the Congressman Marcoleta. Sinabi niya kanina, hindi kasama yung SALN sa original complaint.
Yes, he mentioned that.
Oh, I'd like to clarify. Paano niya nasabi yun? Kasama eh. Ito, babasahin ko. Vice President Sara Duterte committed culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayed the public trust in amassing unexplained wealth and failing to disclose all her properties and interests in properties in her SALN. Nakalagay po sa complaint eh. Anong sinasabi niya na hindi kasama sa original complaint? I'd like to find out from him.
Honorable
Ang hirap
Marcoleta.
noon, Chair, salita siya ng salita dito. Kinakailangan maging sure tayo na hindi nabanggit.
And if I may add, for the guidance of the honorable members and in response to the manifestation of the Honorable Marcoleta, I will be reading the specific paragraph where matters concerning SALN was mentioned in the complaint. With regards to Sabale complaint, there are allegations in paragraph 107, 108, 109, and paragraphs 285 to 290. And for Cabrera complaint, may we refer the Honorable Marcoleta as well to paragraph 20.3, paragraph 76, paragraph 77, paragraph 232, paragraph 233, 234, 235, 236, 237, 238, 239, 240, 241, 242, and even from paragraphs 244 to 246. For the information of the Honorable Marcoleta,
Yes, ma'am.
mentioned
Binanggit po ang-
paragraphs contained allegations which are relevant to the SALNs of the respondent.
Yes, ma'am, it was mentioned, I think, very adequately, the word silence, but they were never attached to the original complaints. Parang this complaint is just merely requesting the committee to produce evidence. Ibig sabihin, wala pang ebidensya, nakikiusap sa committee na ito para mag-produce ng ebidensya na wala, hindi nakakabit sa original complaints. Yun lang po ang sinasabi ko, ma'am.
In other words, you admit that there were a lot of times that SALNs were mentioned in the impeachment complaint. However,
They were never
not
attached.
attached in the
Opo.
impeachment
Wala pa
complaint.
pong ebidensyang nakalakip doon po sa complaint. At ngayon pa lang po natin binubuksan dahil ito po ay kumbaga request ng complainant.
Please understand as well that the compulsory process that was granted to the Justice Committee is for the purpose of testing the sufficiency of the allegations in the complaint, whether the same constitute probable cause, which is
Yeah.
the mandate of this proceeding.
Correct.
So, with all due respect, Honorable Marcoleta, it is our humble position that all the actions of this committee, including the issuance of subpoena of all these questioned SALNs by Your Honor, is in accordance with the rules of impeachment, the Constitution, and even with the decisions of the Honorable Supreme Court.
Ma'am, the court will be the better judge of that.
And that is why you should elevate that before the Honorable Court.
Maybe not me, but some other parties. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other member who wish to raise clarificatory questions to the Ombudsman? Hearing none, may we direct the committee secretary to call the Vice President
Madam
in
Chair,
order
just,
to extend to her
Madam Chair.
the opportunity to present evidence, including those which will counter the testimony provided already and the documents provided already by the Office of the Ombudsman.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Garbin is recognized.
Thank you, Madam. Just a few questions to the representatives of the Ombudsman. Kayo ho'y nagpresenta ng SALN, and what was presented by your office are those SALNs under your custody and the entries, the official entries in those SALN. Tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
But that entries does not say whether there is a misdeclaration, untruthful declaration, or willful non-disclosure that will lead to unexplained wealth. Tama po ba?
Your Honor, binasa ko lang po kung ano yung, at kinonfirm ko lang po kung ano yung nakalagay sa SALN.
Honorable Garbin, I'm afraid but we are not allowed to raise questions which will go beyond what appears in the SALN.
That's why, Madam Chair, I just need confirmation whether that
Yes.
presentation
Issues concerning misdeclaration.
yields in support to the complainants. First of all, Madam Chair, wala yung complainant dito eh.
I understand, but please limit your questions to
And that's why I
the
want to ask
contents of the
sana yung
affidavit.
complainant
Contents of the
as
SALN.
to his allegation, because it was pointed out that the SALN was only part of a broader allegations of unexplained wealth. But as correctly pointed out by Mr. Marcoleta or Congressman Marcoleta, those SALN that was, or that we want to specifically pinpoint that have material misdeclaration or untruthful declaration was never attached in the first place
We are
in the
not
complaint.
yet on that, Honorable Garbin.
We
are
were
only
through,
on the
we were
existence of the
through,
SALNs.
we were already through on that. We already approved, voted on the ultimate facts and the sufficiency in substance. And the annexes provided in the complaint, Madam Chair. So what we have here is an improvement of the complaint, of the complainant's evidence. Tayo yung nagpo-produce ng ebidensya eh, which is not supposed to be the case.
With all due respect, Honorable Garbin, the issuance of the subpoena is not for the purpose of adding, supplementing, or correcting whatever appears in the complaint. The purpose of the issuance of subpoena is to test whether the complaint is sufficient already for the existence of probable cause. To aid the justice members in judging whether or not probable cause exists on the basis of the allegations in the complaint, including the attached documents.
If I may, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Chua.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, let me walk you through Section 7 of our Rules of Procedure in Impeachment Proceedings. Sabi po dito, the committee shall conduct a hearing. The committee, through the chairperson, may limit the period of examination by members of the committee. The committee shall have the power to issue compulsory processes for the attendance of witnesses and the production of documents and other related evidence. So, yun po yung ginagawa po natin dito. This SALN, ito pong SALN na to ay pumapasok po dito po sa power ng committee. Hindi naman po tayo ang nagsasabi niyan. Ang nagsasabi po niyan ay ang ating rules. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Before we proceed,
Madam
I just
Chair.
want to state for the record, Honorable De Lima, that the committee is already in receipt of the notices of disallowance referred to by Attorney Camora of ICFAO COA during the April 14 hearing. This pertains to the disallowances of the first 3 quarters of the OVP Confidential Fund of 2023, the first, the second, and the third. The total amount of these notices of disallowances is 375,000 million. 375 million pesos. So the COMSEC is directed to provide copy of this notices of disallowance to the Vice President, the complainant, and all the members of the Justice Committee. The same is true with respect to the decision referred to as well by Attorney Camora of ICFAO COA. This is to prove that the appeal pertaining to the last quarter of 2022 confidential fund of OVP has been denied, which means that the notice of disallowance for the last quarter of 2022 was affirmed by the Commission on Audit. Likewise, the committee secretariat is directed to provide copy of the same to the Vice President, the complainants, and all the justice members. Honorable De Lima is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wish to put forth additional counter-arguments on the points raised by the Honorable Marcoleta and also certain points raised by the Honorable Garbin. Okay, first, we have determined already sufficiency in substance of the complaints. Sufficiency in substance, both in form and substance, and that includes the annexes. Pangalawa po, hindi po required na lahat ng mga pwedeng ebidensya ay dapat na produce na ng complainants at the time of the filing of the complaint. And that's why we have these processes of subpoena para makalakap ng mga ebidensya na nakasabi sa complaint tsaka yung mga related evidence. Ang importante po dito, especially in the issuance of subpoena, yung requirements of specificity or sufficiently describe yung mga dokumento na pinapaproduce at yung relevance to the issue. Wala pong duda dun sa mga subpoena po natin ng production for the production of specific documents like respondent SAL-Ns, the AMLAC records of the flagged bank transactions of the respondent, the records of her corporate holdings, records of her financial transactions. These are all relevant to the grounds alleged in the complaint. They directly relate to the issues actually and specifically raised in the 3rd and 4th impeachment complaints, the Sabalia et al. And Cabrera complaints, particularly that respondent purportedly engaged in culpable violation of the Constitution, graft and corruption, bribery, including the accumulation of unexplained and or ill-gotten wealth and her ownership of secret bank accounts worth millions, if not billions of pesos, all of which she did not declare in her SAL-Ns. Doon sa punto na ini-improve daw po natin. Actually, there's nothing wrong about that, improving the evidence that are sought to be presented by the complainants, kasi tayo nga po ang magiging prosecutors later, and we are determining at this point the existence of probable cause, and therefore we need the guidance of any other relevant evidence para makarating po sa determinasyon na yan ng existence of probable cause. We develop, we improve, we ask for other additional evidence as long as they are relevant to the issue or issues as alleged in the complaints. So wala pong mga linalabag dito na mga principles pagdating po sa tungkol doon sa kailangan ba na linalagay lahat o pinipresenta na lahat sa complaint pa lang. So malinaw po yan, Madam Chair, hindi po kailangan. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Chel Jokno is recognized.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Wala naman pong pinagkaiba ang ginagawa ng Committee on Justice dun sa ginagawa ng isang prosecutor na nagko-conduct ng preliminary investigation. Just like a prosecutor under the rules of the House, we have the power to issue subpoena to determine what used to be called probable cause, although what is now called certainty of conviction. And para sa akin, mas mahalaga pa nga yung tungkulin natin na yon dahil wala pa naman po tayo sa adversarial stage. We are very clearly in the inquisitorial stage. where we are meant to inquire whether there is sufficient probable cause. Kaya po tayo binigyan ng ngipin ng House Rules para makapagsabpina ay para nga makita ang ebidensya. And I'm very disappointed at any attempts to remove that power from us, because that is precisely why the Constitution requires that we conduct a hearing. Yung hearing naman natin, hindi para marinig natin yung salita ng iba't ibang mga nandito ngayon, kung hindi makita mismo yung ebidensya. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Madam
Madam
Chair.
Chair. My
The
last
Honorable Garbin.
Madam Chair.
At the outset, Madam Chair, let me state that I am for the truth and for knowing whether there's material or misdeclaration on the SALN. What I'm saying here, the observance of procedural due process. Going back to the complaint, as stated, this specific SALN were not attached. And we say observance of procedural due process. Ang tinatawag po doon, paano makakapagsagot yung isang respondent kung wala naman specific allegations doon sa mga iprinisintang SALN? We agree that we have compulsory processes to produce those documents relevant to this hearing. But the absence of giving opportunity to the respondent the right to be heard or to answer, and those specific allegations, it's not even a specific allegation because it was part of a broader allegations of unexplained wealth. Ako po ay isang abogado bago mambabatas. Ako po ay dumaan din sa napakaraming preliminary investigation. And kung magpipresenta tayo dito ng dokumento na hindi natin bibigyan ng oportunidad yung inaakusahan dito, then where is the procedural due process? That's why I'm saying, are we
Honorable
improving
Garbin.
the complaint? Or
Honorable
it is
Garbin.
better left to the impeachment court to present all these documents so that the respondent will also have the right to confront those evidence presented against her
Notice is being given to her.
and the right also to examine those specific SALN that allege misdeclarations of unexplained wealth.
Honorable Garbin, I just want to state for the record that since the start of the presentation of witnesses and evidence, we've been sending notices to the Vice President, to the respondent, and as a matter of fact, even after every resource person, we are calling the Vice President to check if she is present so we can cater the opportunity to be heard that you are mentioning. Honorable Garbin, in as far as due process is concerned, I honestly believe that this committee has been amply complying in providing the same to the respondent Vice President. And let us all be reminded that this issue raised by the Honorable Garbin is already pending before the Supreme Court. So with the indulgence of the justice members, perhaps we should leave this to the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court. With that, can we proceed to the presentation of our resource persons?
Kaabang-abang kung ano pa yung mga lalabas na pahayag at pasabog, lalo na't eto na nandirito na ngayon na matter of time. Ang nakikita ko, Sir Admar, na sana all efforts na mapabalik talaga dito si former Representative Saldico, kasi naniniwala ako na siya talaga yung susi dito eh.
Makakasama natin si Professor Eric De Torres, isang political analyst. Prof, magandang gabi. Admar at MJ po inyong makakasama dito sa SMNI. Maraming salamat sa inyong oras.
Good evening, sir.
Magandang gabi po, Sir Admar at Sir MJ at sa mga nakikinig at sumusubaybay po sa ating pong programa.
Opo, lumabas po at di ko alam kung ang tamang term ay binasag na ang katahimikan ni dating Speaker Martin Romualdez. Di ko alam kung narinig niyo po ang kanyang paliwanag dahil parang hindi yata pinagbigyan na siya'y makaalis tapos marami siyang mga sinabi. Ano ang nararamdaman niyo po? Possible na nakikita ninyo sa nararamdaman ng dating speaker, siya ba ay tila nilalaglag na o ilalaglag na kaya't ganito ang kanyang mga naging pahayag?
Well, una sa lahat nakakapagtaka at we have to give credit din sa ating ombudsman Boying Remulla. Maraming talagang tingin ko isa ako dun sa mga nagulat dun sa pagpapasya niya na talagang kahit papaano talagang umiiral pa rin din at meron talagang partiality na nakakaasa yung taong bayan na ginagawa ng ombudsman ang kanyang trabaho bilang pagiging impartial. Kasi ako nagulat na hindi pinayagan o merong ibang approach ang ombudsman na hindi pagpayag o hindi pag-aalaw, bagamat inalaw siya ng House of Representatives pero hindi siya inaalaw ng ombudsman na makaalis at makaliban ng bansa para magpa-check up sa Singapore. Pero ang gusto ko sanang bigyan ng tuon ng pansin dito, parang nakakapagtaka na all of a sudden na nung nahuli si former Representative Zaldico, biglang yung pattern na magpa-check up sa ibang bansa ang naging direksyon ni former Speaker Martin Romualdez. Pwede nating sabihin na coincidence lang ba siya? Pero anong sumunod na naging aksyon niya ay biglang binasag niya ang kanyang katahimikan. Di umano dun sa pahayag niya nang magsalita siya tungkol sa usapin ng flood control issue na tingin ko long overdue na dapat matagal na siyang nagbigay ng pahayag patungkol dito, diretsong mismong sa kanya na talagang inaasahan ng taong bayan na ano ba talaga, may kinalaman ba siya, ano yung mga resibo o ano yung mga pupwedeng magbigay daan para talagang sabihin niya na yung kiniklaim niya ay siya ay inosente o wala man lamang na kinalaman pagdating dito sa usaping ito na talaga namang buwan nang nakalilipas pero hindi matuldukan at talagang ito nakikita na natin ngayon na turn of events na talagang siguro nilalayo ng Diyos na tulungan tayo at talagang may patnubay na ang Poong May Kapal na talagang mapanagot kung sino man yung dapat mapanagot pagdating dito sa usaping ito.
Pero dito kung babasahin natin, no, at pakikinggan natin yung kanyang nabanggit, parang meron siyang alam eh. Kumbaga parang sige, gipitin niyo pa ako at handa kong ilahad kung ayaw niyo sa usaping legal, kung sa court of public opinion, meron din akong ilalabas. Parang ganun eh. Bakit pa pinipigil pa? So ibig sabihin, may something.
Meron po talaga. At saka kung titignan natin, ayan na eh. Parang yung sa akin ang mag-iisip ka is the pattern. So ano ba to? Dahil ba sa pagkakahuli ni Representative Zaldico, biglang all of a sudden nagbigay siya ng ganyang pahayag. Maaari niya itong gawin at ginawa matagal na. Pero doon sa tema ng kanyang mga pahayag, mukhang meron din siyang nalalaman at tingin ko imposibleng wala siyang nalalaman kasi tandaan natin pagdating sa huli, ang nag-a-approve ng budget at ang nag-a-approve ng lahat ng ito ay ang speaker at ang counterpart niyang Senate President. So ako, dalawang bagay lang yan. Talaga bang wala siyang alam o maaaring talagang hindi niya lamang nalaman dahil usapin ito ng kawalan talaga ng alam o issue ng competence which tingin ko hindi naman pagdating dun sa ikalawa kong argumento. So talagang kaabang-abang kung ano pa yung mga lalabas na pahayag at pasabog lalo na't eto na nandirito na ngayon na matter of time. Ang nakikita ko, Sir Admar, na sana all efforts na mapabalik talaga dito si former Representative Saldico. Kasi naniniwala ako na siya talaga yung susi dito eh. At ang katulad nga ng sinabi ko, kung yung bang statement niya na binitawan niya doon sa kanyang mga pahayag dati ay tutungtungan niya at maninindigan siya dito at hindi pagbalik niya dito parang mag-iiba yung hangin. So yun ang kailangan nating abangan patungkol dito.
Opo, para bang hindi nagtutugma kasi ang kanyang paliwanag from April 20, which is ngayon ay April 21 hanggang Mayo 4 ata, no, ay magpapa-angioplasty surgery siya. Tapos naglabas siya ng video. Tumutugma ba na merong kailangan ganun sa kanya? Or kung babasahin mo yung mga komento, nako, baka hindi na babalik yan sa Pilipinas kapag nakalabas. Tapos natunugan ng siguro, sabi naman ibang netizen, baka natunugan ng ibang mga kasabot, kaya wag payagang makaalis.
Of course, karapatan niya, preferensya niya, meron siyang resources kung nais niyang gawin ng procedure na yun doon sa ibang bansa, niya yun, karapatan niya yun. Pero hindi itong procedure naman na to, Sir Admar, sa pagkakaalam ko hindi naman na rin din magpapahuli ang ating bansa at marami nang mahuhusay na doktor at ospital dito po sa atin sa Pilipinas. Pero surprisingly, yung pattern nga na bakit gano'n na parang mahaba kasi ang pagkakaalam ko kapag natapos yung procedure na yan, kung talagang may need na magpahinga, 1 linggo, pwede ka na ulit na makabalik kasi parang walang nangyari sa iyang pagka natanggal na yung bara. Assuming na yung dahilan niya talaga. Pero yun, pahayag ni Ombudsman Boying Remulla, talagang parang bakit ganun yung pattern na nakikita natin na kapag merong mapapanagot, para maiwasan na maging Zaldico issue ulit ito na parang parating yung isa, aalis naman yung isang idinadawit din. So ako, mahalaga na talagang magandang move at saka talagang ako talagang dapat na tamang naging desisyon ng Ombudsman na hindi payagan ang pagpapaalis.
Pero kung babasahin natin between the lines, kasi nabanggit niya yung mga mga pangalan, kung sino nga ba, saan ba dadaan, paano ba kumikilos ang pagbabudget hanggang sa pag-i-implement ng budget. Pero parang na parang kung i-analisa mo, parang ang sinasabi ay hindi lang ako yung dapat na pansinin dyan. Dapat meron din dyan sa executive. Meron din dito sa legislative. Marami namang mga nag-ano dyan. Di ba? Parang ganun po, Prof. Yun din yung basa mo.
Tingin ko, ang basa ko din, Sir Admar, calibrated muna yung kanyang mga pahayag kanina. At tingin ko kapag mas lulmalim pa ito, mapipwersa siya na mas magsalita pa at maglabas na ng resibo at ilahad na ang kanyang nalalaman. So, kung meron man, tingin ko, at sa aking pananaw lamang, ang susi dito na unang-una si Saldico. Pero ang tingin kong importanteng personalidad dito na talagang nakakaalam din ng nangyari ay, of course, si former Speaker Martin Romualdez at Senate President back then, Chis Escudero, kasi the bucket stops sa kanila sapagkat sila yung nag-a-approve So, counterpart ng dalawang yan. I will suspend judgment kung, of course, on the other hand, kung mayroon bang iba pang dawit o may galing ba dyan sa Malacanang. Pero the bucket stops from both leadership ng House of Representatives at saka Senate. Pero yun nga pag tinitignan mo yung kanyang pronouncement, very calibrated, tingin ko kapag mas lumalim pa, maaaring mapuwersa siya na maglabas ng resibo at talagang ilahad na kung ano yung kanyang nalalaman. Pero ako panawagan natin siguro, ano wag na sanang dumating pa dun sa ganung klaseng punto. All in na natin nang sa gayon magkaroon din ng tamang mapanagot na kasi ilang buwan na tayong sinisingil nito at talagang nakakalungkot sa krisis na meron tayo tapos meron pang ganito. Pero ang maganda rin din Sir Admar yung tamang venue o tamang avenue ito ipapahayag at hindi yung korte ng public perception but rather yung talagang legal at talagang may mapapanagot base sa o alinsunod sa ating batas.
Opo, pero kung matatandaan natin, 'di ba? Isa nga itong si dating Speaker Romualdez dapat ay imbitahan. Nagkaroon pa nga ng debate. Imbitahan na 'yan kasi sila yung involved dito sa pagbabudget eh. Tapos ang kanilang nirarason mayroong interparliamentary courtesy. Pero alam naman natin malaki po ang involved na pera. Tapos noong time na narinig din natin na lalabas na sana kahit via online na magsasalita sa investigasyon via Zoom yata or online mga prof si dating Congressman Zaldico pero parang pinigilan kasi daw maraming mga technicalities na hindi pwede. No, ngayon lumabas si Gutesa, merong mga nabanggit kalaunan na nawala. Hindi na dugtungan lalo na nung na-mention yung mga malalaking pangalan ng Pangulo, pangalan ng Speaker din. Tapos itong pinaka-latest na tinaguriang Brave 18 tumutugma doon sa naging pahayag ni Gutesa, tumutugma doon sa naging pahayag nitong si dating Congressman Zaldico, considering sila ay mga dating empleyado ni Congressman Zaldico. Pero hindi nila pinayagan na makapagsalita. Ang dami ng mga ebidensyang inilalabas din ni Attorney Levy Baligod na for sure mula dito sa Brave 18 na ito. And pero doon kay Madriaga, grabe, pinayagan na makapagsalita kahit mali-mali. Prof.
Yun nga po una sa lahat sa lalim siguro nitong usaping ito sa lalim sa dami ng taong involved o mga personalidad hindi mo na siya basta-basta mapapatining kasi sa pagkakataong ito gagawa ng pagkakataon ang poong may kapal na talagang mapanagot at yun yung siguro sinasagot ng poong may kapal yung dalangin siguro ng bawat isa sa atin na talagang mapanagot na kasi ito hand of God na tong nangyaring in terms of turn of events kasi ang pinagtataka ko kung aanalisahin natin bakit hindi ipatawag at parang napakababaw naman ng interparliamentary courtesy para hindi siya imbitahan sa kahit na saang pagdinig, lalo na sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Lalo nang alam mo na involved. O sige, you want to be partial? Di imbitahan mo si dating Senate President Chis Escudero magharap-harap dahil technically sila yung dating leadership. So, hindi ko makita yung usapin sa lalim at bigat ng usapin nitong flood control scandal na ito or issue na ito, yung justification ng interparliamentary courtesy parang talagang hindi ko matanggap yung ganong klaseng justification ikalawa nagtatagni-tagni yung mga kwento at nagko-corroborate yung pahayag ng bawat isa. So talagang ang basa ko dito Sir Admar, matter of time to. Meron dito talagang maglalahad. Pero yun nga ang pinakasusi dito ay sana mapauwi natin ng mabilis at hindi na abutin pa sana at wag sanang dumating sa puntong gumamit ng legal na pamamaraan para hindi makabalik din si Zaldico dito. We need him. I think it will force the hand of many of those who are actually involved para magsalita at ilahad na ang kanilang nalalaman.
Pero hindi pa nga alam kung sino ang nagsasabi ng totoo Ang presidente ba na inaakusahan ni Zaldico na meron ding natanggap? O itong sinasabi din ni Attorney Harry Roque na nakipag-ugnayan sa kanya itong si dating Congressman Zaldico na hindi naman po naganap yung pag-aresto. Sabi nga ni Congressman Leandro Leviste, dapat hindi ang Pangulo mismo ang magbalita kasi kabilang din siya sa inaakusahan. Pero speaking of Congressman Leviste, meron siyang recent post 1 hour ago. Sabi niya rito, kung hindi ang Kongreso ang mastermind ng flood control, tungkulin nating tukuyin kung sino talaga ang mastermind. Kasi meron niyang nabanggit dito. I-quote ko lang ito, mahaba-haba itong nabanggit ni dating Speaker Romualdez. Sabi kasi niya rito, Prof, I will not allow myself to be turned into the scapegoat so that others who are actually accountable can walk away clean. If this is a political play to push me out and close the story, tarnishing my name and my reputation, then I am telling everyone now, I will not go quietly and I will not go alone. I will not be the fall guy for other people's corruption. I have been in public life long enough. I have seen enough. I have heard enough. I know many things about this current administration and past administration as well. And I say this carefully, if this matter is to be handled as legal issue, then let it be handled legally, soberly, and according to evidence. So, ano pong masasabi niyo pa dito?
Sir, isa lang yan, political survival. So, they are basically on a political survival mode. So, lalo na yung pahayag niya na he will not go down quietly. So, ito yung postura na talagang kung dumating sa punto, if push comes to shove, at maipit siya, ilalahad niya yung kanyang nalalaman. Because at the end of the day, he has basically to survive. And more importantly, ito yung pinaka dapat nating maging critical tayo. Ano yung naratibong bubuuing kwento na dapat maging critical tayo? At ikalawa, mas lalo tayong maging mapagmatsyag kasi pagdating sa huli, perception issue to eh. It's a perception game na sino ba talaga. Pero ang dynamics ng mga nangyayari is between these people, it's really about political survival. Kaya ang hirap mong i-cover up itong ganitong klasing ganito kalaki at ganito kalalim na iskandalo na talagang babalik at babalik kasi marami kang loose ends. Kung titignan natin. So, very hindi siya ganun ka-fluid. Ika nga pag i-aanalisa mo kasi one thing leads to another eh. So, talagang posturang political survival.
Prof, good evening. Si MJ po ito. Prof, pag-usapan po natin ang mga political implications sa paghahanap po natin ng last actor in the chain dito po sa sisihan sa nangyari pong korupsyon sa Kabanang Bayan. Anong political implications kung magkakaroon na nga ng laglagan blues, papangalanan na yung mga papangalanan at magkakalaglagan na sa kanilang mga baho? Prof, anong political implications noon? Will this administration survive public scrutiny?
Ako, ang maraming scenarios na po pwedeng mangyari. Looking at it, from a various scenario. Maaaring pwedeng scenario 1, baka bukas hindi natin malaman, magbigay na rin din ng statement si former Senate President Chis Escudero. So, let's wait and see. 'Di ba? Habang nag-aantay. So, maraming pwedeng maging scenario pagdating dito. But isa yung tingin kong maninindigan ang palasyo na kung hindi dahil sa paglalathala ng ating Pangulo ay hindi malalaman itong flood control scandal na to na itong mga taong ito ay hindi magka-come forward at magkakaroon ng paglalahad kung hindi nauna ang Pangulo na tanging siya lamang ang nagpahayag at naglathala o nagsiwalat itong flood control scandal na ito. So yun yung tingin kong tutungtungan na naratibo dito na paninindigan ng palasyo. Kaya ito yung mga bagay na talagang maging critical yung taong bayan. Siya ba talaga? Ano ba yung gaano ba kalalim? May involvement din ba siya? Dapat din bang sumailalim ang ating pangulo sa investigasyon din? So, ang daming mga scenarios na maaaring mabuo pero ang bilis ng takbo ng pangyayari. Pero it seems katulad nga ng sinabi ko kanina, nakapustura yung mga bawat tao na nai-implicate dati pa o na survival mode na sila, and they have to weather this once and for all. Now, of course, meron din yang nakikita ko na implikasyon din yan. Dahil sa lahat ng ito, nagkakagulo dito sa isang side, ano ba yung magiging direction nito ngayon sa pagdating naman sa impeachment proceedings o impeachment trial ni VP Sara, sapagkat syempre if all else na talagang naging malalim at naging malaki to, she is the constitutional successor. So tanong dyan sa mga susunod na panahon, at meron pa yata tayong, kung di ako nagkakamali, na 2 meeting, ano yung magiging pasya in light ng ganitong nangyari? Magkakaroon pa ba ng solid votes dyan para makapag-master sila ng enough signature for the impeachment to be translated, articles of impeachment to be translated to the Senate, and so on and so forth. So yun yung kailangan nating tutukan sa mga susunod na panahon, lalo na kung di ako nagkakamali, meron yatang nakaschedule ngayong linggo. So ano yung magiging implication nito in light dun sa susunod na hearing? Didiinan ba yung hearing para yung buong naratibo na kahit na nakitang in the public perception with those who are very critical in social media, tingin ko they really question the credibility of Madriaga for nung talagang sumalang siya. So ang tanong, they will call upon another witness, si Senator Trillanes. Mabubuo ba yung buong naratibo, at ano yung naratibong epekto nitong naratibong ito sa ikalawang pangulo natin versus basically doon sa development na nangyayari doon sa flood control scandal, which has more weight on the part of the people, especially ano yung public perception na effect nito. Kasi I'm anticipating for that particular scenario na talagang while they would be questioning the credibility and the trust of the Vice President, iaangat nila, or they will basically highlight and maintain the story that, these people came forward because it was the President himself na naglahad ng usaping ito o ng issue dito. So, yun yung dapat nating abangan.
Prof, pag-usapan po natin yung timing, no? Yung political phrase po, Prof, na sinking ship. Paano to umeepekto sa resignation ni Galvez at ni Anyo? Sinabayan pa nitong mga pronouncements ni Martin Romualdez?
Mahirap medyo very difficult to speculate. Of course, they have their own reasons. Pero kung titignan natin, not really more of sinking ship, but it affects stability. By stability, alam naman natin na yung respeto ng mga uniformed personnel sa dalawang opisyalis na ito, at hindi matatawaran ang serbisyo at ang respeto ng uniformed personnel natin, lalo na ang ating hukbong sandatahan. At malaki ang naitulong at kontribusyon ng dalawang icon, o masasabi natin na dalawang key officials na ito, na may hinahawakan na dalawang mabigat na pwesto sa administrasyon. So yun lang, mahirap mag-speculate kung bakit, pero tingin ko napakalaki ng kawalan. Of course, they have their own reasons para dahilan nila kung bakit sila nagbitiw na sa kanilang tungkulin, maaaring itong personal, pero yung impact niya, especially with the timing, with all of this basically happening, parang nagkaliwat kanan. And of course, may external ano pa tayo, issues or threats na hindi nawawala pa yung usapin sa West Philippine Sea, andyan yung oil crisis. So, malaking kawalan ang pagre-retiro ni Sec Charlie Galvez at ni former NSC DILG Secretary Ed Anyo.
Tsaka yung frequency kasi, Prof, sunod-sunod eh. No? Araw lang ang pagitan, tapos eto, dinagdagan pa ng mga revelasyon ngayong araw ni Martin Romualdez. Political implications, Prof, dito sa gitna ng krisis natin, itong nangyayari ngayon sa administrasyon. Politically speaking, sir, meron pa ba silang political capital to spend on? Dahil, on the other hand, may krisis sa langis, ayuda hinihingi ng tao, accountability hinihingi ng tao, tapos on the other hand naman, nagkakagulo po ang kanilang political sphere.
Yun nga po. Kaya kung mapapansin natin, yung iba kasi katulad niyan, ano, may mga naglabas recently doon na mga survey firm na kung saan nakabawi daw ang ating pangulo, at the same time may mga pahayag na bumaba din ang ating ikalawang pangulo. Pero kasi kung titignan natin, surface level to eh. 'Di ba? Ang mahalaga diyan, ano yung sentimiento ng mga tao doon sa baba? Kasi ano din yung unang-una sa lahat, ano yung metodolohiya ng mga survey? Pangalawa pa, ano yung framing ng questions? Ikatlong punto, baka hindi natatanong yung mga taong dapat matanong. Lalo na, ilan yung nakita natin, Sir MJ, dalawang nasawi o dalawang kababayan nating namatay sa pagpila dahil sa bigat ng panahon, sa kahabaan ng pila, namatay yung TNBS kasi ang tagal ng distribution. 'Di ba? Yung proseso and so on, basically, and so forth. So, yung hindi lang kasi usapin na meron kang ginagawa at ina-address yung issue. Ngayon, sa panahon ngayon, gaano kabilis at gaano ka-responsive para mabilis mo maibigay yung tulong o ayuda dun sa ating mga kababayan. At lahat ng ito nasusukat beyond the political, sa aking pagtingin, and being objective in all, beyond the political na nangyayari, ang pinakamahalaga kasi is yung less o yung poor governance on the part of the administration. Yun yung malaking hamon na tingin ko nakakaapekto doon sa kanyang political capital in terms of several things. Unang-una, yung pag-address dito sa krisis na ito. Observers would say na napakabagal. Ikatlo, yung decisiveness in terms of pagbibigay ng emergency powers, pero tax, okay, naintindihan natin na kailangan balansehin. Pero sumirit ng hanggang 170 na talagang hirap na hirap yung ating mga kababayan. We could say na talagang hindi naman pinabayaan dahil na meron ngang ayudang ibinigay, pero yung responsiveness doon sa ayuda eh. Next, yung long-term planning. Kasi hindi at the end of the day, ang question yung trickle-down effect doon sa mga tao eh. So, beyond the political aspect, i-set aside natin yun. But the continuous deterioration of the political capital of this administration can very much attributed to the lack or poor governance. So yan ang talagang klaro tingin ko pagdating dito sa usaping ito.
Isama na rin natin, Prof, ano ba sa inyong pag-aanalisa dahil muli pong binuhay yung sinasabing possible na ipa-impeach din yung Senior Associate Justice Marvic Leonen na naging abala din kanina sa pagbusisi doon po sa questionabling budget ng 2024 hanggang 2026, Prof.
Ako, yun, parang sobrang na to kapag pati ang miyembro ng Korte Suprema. Bakit ganun? Katanungan lang. Kapag may tanong doon sa proseso, ina-antagonize mo na sila at ang dating hindi sumasang-ayon kasi mayroong question doon sa buong proseso and therefore ang buong naratibo kakampi ng mga Duterte. 'Di ba? So, yun parang ang hirap. Tandaan natin si Marvic Leonen hindi Duterte appointee. Pinoy appointee si Marvic Leonen. So, yung paraan at yung proseso ng kanyang pagtatanong, napaka objective in terms of yung line of questioning niya. So, tingin ko, sobra naman kung doon papapunta yung takbo ng mga bagay-bagay na para maghain pa ng impeachment laban kay Marvic Leonen.
Opo. And dito naman po sa mga natuklasan din kanina sa pagdinig or sa oral argument po, Prof, maaari bang makonekta itong lahat-lahat ng mga pinag-uusapan mula doon sa flood control anomaly, sa iba pang mga proyekto, sa sinasabing trilyong pisong na po ang naibulusan ng mga korap, paghatid ng mali-maletang mga basura, at itong ang questionableng pagbuo ng budget, mga pahayag nitong si dating Speaker Romualdez, mga ibinulgar din mga alegasyon din ni Congressman Zaldico, pati na rin yung mga pahayag ng iba pang mga kongresista like Congressman Leandro Leviste po. Sa kabuuan, nagtutugma-tugma po ba ang pwede maitagpi-tagpi ang istorya po, Prof?
Tingin ko po nagtatahi-tahi na yung mga yung mga pahayag, yung mga sitwasyon. Tingin ko panahon na lang po ang binibilang. At sana po wag naman sobrang tagal, pero mapagtagni man ang pinaka mapagtagni at magdikit-dikit man yung buong sitwasyon o pagkakataon, ang mahalaga po may mapanagot. At pag may mapanagot po, ang susunod po is how do we move forward? Kasi habang tumatagal yung frustration ho ng taong bayan, yun nga po ang problema ho sobrang politika, nawawalan na ho ng serbisyo sa ating mga kababayan. Hindi na ho malaman kung saan ho magsisimula kasi yung tingin ho nila ang atake sa politika, yun ho yung dapat na pagtuunan ng pansin. Dapat po pagtuunan natin ng pansin yung tamang serbisyo, yung governance ho para sa atin ho mga kababayan. Kasi yun ho yung basic premise or basic principle. Bakit po tayo nandito o bakit po nandyan sila sa gobyerno? Para pagsilbihan ho yung ating taong bayan. At bawasan muna ho yung pamumulitika. Kasi lahat po ito byproduct ho ng too much politics. And of course, yun nga ho, yung hindi na temper ho basically yung greed. So at the end of the day, panawagan ho natin na talagang sana mapatagot. Pero ako naniniwala na a matter of time at magtatagni-tagni po lahat at makukumpleto na ho yung buong kwento nito.